Every layer, every weapon, every enemy, if it's in Ultrakill, it's in this list, starting off with the... I mean, is there really much to say? 2 steps down the road behind a Woolies and I can find a similar experience in real life. It goes in C tier, it's just a zombie. Okay, the Leviathan. So I don't know if this is a controversial take or not, but above any other boss in the game, this is my favorite. Yeah, above Minos or Sisyphus or any of them, this stupid fish is my personal goat. There are so many ways to fight him. You have so much freedom to move and battle. It's like an actual sandbox where you can either go to the skies with your rocket and duel in the air, or set up disgusting combos on the ground. The freest Ultrakill tier of my goddamn life. The Screwdriver. Zooey mama. Call it a crutch, but this was the original sword-on shotgun. Look, if nobody's got my back, I know the Screwdriver's got my back. The moment you put this on someone, you can just drop all worries in the world for the next half hour as free blood drips from every orifice in your victim's body. However, it does go a tier down because I do lose a certain amount of aura when I use it in a video. A certified anarchic weapon. Okay, next, the Ferryman. This guy, I never really enjoy fighting. I mean, he's really cool. I like his design and his interaction in 5.2, but past that, his fights are always just a pain in the fucking ass during Pantheons and Cyber Grinds, and like, he just ruins the vibe, okay? I'm putting him in brutal tier. Okay, the first level, 7-1 Halls of Whispering Remains. I mean, it's gotta go in A tier. When I first saw this teased on Hikita's Twitter, I knew for a fact that he was cooking because it was just so striking. One of the first maps I could objectively say is beautiful in the conventional sense. It was the most unique and most trippy map I've played in so long, and that entire section where the Minotaur stalks you and jump scares you, it was simply cinema. I mean, it was jaw-dropping in its scale and its complexity, and honestly the perfect way to start the best layer in the game. That being said, I simply can't put in Supreme because I never look forward to replaying it. Possibly because I always get lost in it. It's like, it's kind of like Macquarie Center. You just kind of get lost and then you die. The Piercer. This thing was by your side from day one. The Troji, the under the Mayo classic, if you will. It might not be the most flashy or the most useful or anything, to be honest, but it truly and surely is yours, and for that, I love you. Anarchic. Okay, sheer heart attack. This map has never really clicked for me, to be honest. On the surface, I feel like a lot of this community should love this level. It's beautiful, it's challenging, and it introduced classics like the Mind Flare all on top of a JoJo reference, but the way it loops on itself and the way skulls separate the levels, it's never clicked for me. I'm sure one day I'll find beauty in its confusing corridors, but for now, it's going in destructive tier. Firstly, being jumped by objectively one of the coolest looking robot designs of all time? Hell yeah. And 2, the entire look of it. The moment I saw it, I was reminded of World War II London, which I think is intentional. The enemies come to you through massive missiles, and you explore through blood-soaked trenches, hiding in subway systems and delivering a payload to progress through, followed by one of the best combat sequences in a normal Ultrakill level, hiding behind these walls and praying to God that these goddamn gutter tanks don't delete your health bar in half a second. It's cinema. Anarchic tier. Okay, the Flesh Prison. It's alright. Doesn't help that they're guarding one of the best bosses in the game, but it's perfectly excusable, especially when we see Sisyphus rip the poor thing open. I mean, its entire purpose on this earth is to allow this guy to aura farm. However, I can't say that for the Flesh Panacopticon. This thing is a bum. This creature is harder than Minos, and it's not even close, and I'm not even joking. The amount of times I fail to nuke and watch helplessly as it regenerates its entire health bar, I hope this thing burns in hell. Ship of Fools tier. But not all things are bad, because everyone's favorite Italian, Gabriel Ultrakill, is here once again, and even though I don't like his fight that much, he goes into Supreme. I mean, this man is iconic, arguably more so than V1, and such a cornerstone of this game's culture. Truly, what would I be watching on the funny green site without this hunk of an angel? And speaking of hunk, the gutter tank. It's alright. You know, I like their design, I like their gameplay, but they never struck me as anything special. Plus, compared to the pinnacle of design that is this dude's cousin, the Gutter Man, I don't know. Maybe if I had seen how OP he was at launch, my opinions would be different, but for now, he's a very respectable brutal tier. And speaking of failing to live up to your siblings, the Knuckle Blaster suffers from that a lot. This poor fist is never the star of the show. You're either comboing it with another weapon to blitz a Virtue or Maurice off the map, or you're a speedrunner who can defy the laws of physics. It's hard to compete with the feedback, and I'm glad the shield mechanic is added to bolster its usefulness, but it is still the middle child. The Hideous Mass has a striking resemblance to Germa, which automatically puts him in Ultrakill tier, but for ending so many of my Cybergrind runs, straight to brutal. Okay, the Minotaur is peak. But who needs that when you have hype and aura? He gets introduced in this amazing way where he bursts through the goddamn wall, squishing everything in its path. Then it ambushes you on one of those creative boss fights in Ultrakill as you race across the tracks, and just as you're finally about to leave this long ass level, bang, he bursts through the walls and jump scares you when you're on your 4th monster energy at 3 AM. An Arctic tier just for that. So the Whiplash is a grappling hook. Yeah, it's like the youngest born. Yeah, it's pretty cool, anarchic. The Sisyphean Insurrectionist is a pretty good enemy. He's not overly annoying like the Ferryman, but still provides a good challenge without making you want to shoot yourself in the head like the Hideous Mass. I've always been happy to fight a Sisyphean Insurrectionist because, worst comes to worst, it's just a big, burly, sweaty man shoving his hard, fat balls into my face. Truly, thank you Hikita. Supreme tier. Okay, now let's discuss 1-4 Claire de Lune. What is there to say that I have already not said? This is the level that made me go wow when I first played. The level that convinced me to adore this game like nothing else. The first run is perfectly cryptic. The castle is stuck in limbo, a skeleton begging for mercy, V2 dashing before your eyes, drawing you in as you begin one of the most challenging fights in any FPS ever for a first timer, trading with someone just as fast and dangerous as you with 0 moments for forgiveness or rest. But the magic comes from all the other details. The courtyard with the slab revolver, the ability to burst in through the window, the way you lodge 3 coins into V2's skull to end the fight, and the moon piercing the sky. It's definitely an Ultrakill tier level. And speaking of, let me ask you, what is a boomer shooter without a rocket launcher? And let me ask you, what boomer shooter can you also stop time using said rocket launcher and use it to fly? Yeah, this thing goes crazy because what it lacks in general damage and oomph gets made up with through its sheer utility, especially impressive in a game where you're so fast that rocket jumping is practically useless. Supreme tier. Okay, so the mannequins are just kind of annoying, but also a really creative and visually stunning enemy. So even though they have mind flare projectiles, I'll be lying if I put them in anything lower than brutal tier. P2. Oh my god. P2. Comment down what your favorite level in Ultrakill is alongside your favorite boss and whatever, because I'm genuinely pretty sure a solid 10th will be about P2 and Sisyphus Prime. This level is simply divine. I mean it's perfect and acted as the end of Ultrakill for a very long time. Some of the most difficult yet fair levels I've ever seen. On my first playthrough, I didn't die once, and yet it was the hardest thing I've ever done in an FPS. Carrying the flow and stress of battle perfectly without ever shutting down your personal momentum, I felt invincible, and yet I felt like I was being crushed underneath all this pressure. It was one of the best experiences I've ever felt. However, that pristine death count quickly flew out the window when the boss arrived, which even without it would still land this level in Ultrakill tier. From the beautiful architecture to the ingenious enemy placement, I mean every single segment of this level was memorable and delicious to brawl through. And speaking of memorable, is it just me or does this rock sometimes feel like the mascot for this game? Like I know Minos Prime is here, but with every other mod or thumbnail or meme, it's a silly rock front and center on it, and it genuinely feels like it's one of the most iconic parts of Ultrakill and its legacy. And even though it's not the most complex or difficult or even bold design, it's still so versatile. You can parry the projectiles and the hit scan because of course you can, and of course you can also reflect their beams with your coin. It's cinema, Ultrakill tier. It's actually one of the better prologue levels, but I never really find myself to replaying anything in the prologue, so it goes in C tier. Luckily, the slab piercer isn't that. In fact, some would argue it's a straight upgrade. Not only does it do crazy damage, but paired with another slab revolver, and you can swap between them, which is pretty cool. It's kind of like shotgun swapping, anarchic. Would you look at that, the sandbox. This is Construct from the hit Roblox game Evade, and just like that map in Evade, it's pretty cool looking, but the true magic comes from the fact that you can do pretty much anything. Change the background, summon horrible creations that you'll promptly torture. It's great. Truly, I can't believe Gmod would copy Hikita so shamelessly like this. Supreme. Okay, next up we have the chainsaw shotgun. Look, it's pretty boring. The fact that you can shoot and parry the chainsaw as you shotgun swap is fucking diabolical and delicious, and I love it dearly, but apart from that, it's not really that complex. You just walk up to an enemy and win the game. However, from an objective strength standpoint, it's in Ultrakill tier. But Cray, isn't this a list ranking enjoyment? Yes it is, but honestly, it's so fucking strong that it's going in Ultrakill tier anyways. I don't make the rules. And on the topic of red, the sharpshooter. I don't know why the fuck it's called the sharpshooter, if its entire gimmick is not needing to aim at the enemy to kill them, but hey, it's pretty fire. The bouncy bullets are an absolute menace on day one, and while I find it very hard to slot into my loadouts consistently nowadays, I have never not enjoyed using it. Brutal tier. Okay. 1-1, the first level in Ultrakill after the prologue, it's such a perfect whiplash. I mean, it's beautiful and provides such a good contrast that immediately tells the player that every layer is going to be unique and they should keep on progressing. It sure as hell told me to do that. The skip in the start as well is funny as hell. It goes in anarchic. Ignore me putting it in chaotic for some goddamn reason. Okay, so the rail cannon. I'm not gonna lie. The rail coin is the only reason this thing isn't brutal because I think the green and red variants are usually better. The malicious rail cannon can literally nuke entire levels and it's so silly to use, while the screwdriver, well, look, again, if nobody's got my back, I know the screwdriver's got my back. And speaking of something I rarely use, the nail gun is exactly that. I struggle to pull this out. But I know it's OP, and every time I complain about me not liking it, people rightfully tell me to lock in and get good in the comments, because I really should, but I never found a reasonable use for this weapon, and I never really enjoyed using it, so it's going in chaotic. I'm very sorry. And speaking of very sorry, the next is a slab marksman, and we obviously know where this is going to go. Psych! I'm not even gonna lie, this thing is way overhated. I genuinely don't mind it that much, and let me tell you, it still has coins. Now you might be wondering, why is this an S tier? Well, here's the thing. This isn't rage bait, because the more and more I play, the less and less I use my marksman as damage, and more as a finisher where I shoot a coin and do something else with it, going back to my jackhammer or my shotgun or literally any other weapon to do damage, and for that purpose, the slab marksman kind of goes crazy. It's punchy, it's flashy, it's great, and speaking of great, the green jackhammer is... Well, I'm not gonna lie, the jackhammers are some of the best weapons ever made, and definitely my favorite unique weapon from Ultrakill, but the green is by far my least favorite. Maybe because I always have my green as the normal shotgun, but I never found it as good as the sword-on, and even the core eject jackhammer. So it goes in brutal tier, and oh, I think Minos Prime is the most recognizable thing to come out of Ultrakill. He is the mascot of this game, because whenever a game wants to reference Ultrakill, it's either a gun that shoots coins or this spot-looking motherfucker. Whether it be Roblox or Roblox or Roblox, it's the only guy I can show to a random stranger on the street and they'll go, oh yeah, that's the guy from Ultrakill, right? And who can blame them? This boss flows perfectly like a goddamn dance. His design is just weird enough and just simple enough to be easily memorable and also replicatable. And he's just so satisfying to learn and get down. The parries get my taint tickled every time, and his design is just iconic. Not to mention those voice lines. God damn, Ultrakill tier, and it's not even a contest. Fuck you though, Flesh Panacopticon. Okay, 0-2. Mid-ass level, I ain't even gonna lie. Chaotic tier. But 2-4, Supreme tier. This level is so good. I mean, the majority of it is just B-hop practice, but the environment is undeniable. The aesthetics of an abandoned subway filled with broken down seats and all that stuff, it's a beautiful sight. And when the purple man finally bursts through the ceiling, you finally marvel at the fact that you went from the top of Bridgeburner all the way down here as this behemoth towers over you. Okay, 4-2, it goes in destructive. It's just way too damn long. 6-1, straight to brutal tier. I mean, it's a goddamn beautiful level, especially that part where you go into hell and the Chainsaw Man's sky appears. It's gorgeous. The Schism. I mean, even with the rework, they're very snugly fit into chaotic tier. I do like their silly little hitboxes though, I love them for that. Okay, now 4-4, Claire de Soleil. Is that how you pronounce that? Anyways, is it as iconic as the first? No. Does it look as impressive and vibey? No, but I'll tell you what, the fact that the final phase involves you sliding down the pyramids in an epic duel above the clouds, yeah, this is Ultrakill tier without contest. The Oil Up rocket launcher is not only amazing for oiling yourself up to zoom across the map, but also amazing for lighting crowds on fire and making the Leviathan considerably cooler and also a little bit easier if you want that. It's also still a rocket launcher, so it goes in Supreme tier. Okay, now here we are, the Jackhammer Sword-On, which I'm gonna put in Supreme simply because I don't want to put in Ultrakill tier, because I think it's a very well balanced weapon and there's no reason to nerf it at all. Why would anyone want to do that? Oh, and speaking of well balanced, the Feedbacker. Do you know how good of a sales pitch this statement is? That you can punch your own bullets? The mere statement that you can parry enemy gunfire is enough to make me buy the game in itself, but then being told I can punch my own coins and deflect the hand of a titan that's 50 times the size of you? I mean, what else is there to say? This is Ultrakill tier. I mean, you can parry anything. It's oh my god, I wish every FPS had this. Don't make me a game designer. Okie dokie, 1S, it's just a puzzle game and a pretty alright one at that. Anarchic. Also, the green alternative nail gun is in brutal because I say so. 3 is in brutal simply because I think Tundra and Agony are cool, and I'm very grateful we can skip most of the level by bending space and time through this silly little pillar. 5-2 is carried exclusively by how good the map looks. The aesthetics of the United Kingdoms, the lighthouse, and the ship that rises from the ocean, it's beautiful, but the gameplay is quite mid. Brutal tier. The Swordblade launcher is kind of a genius weapon. Allowing the stacking of a bunch of swords around a magnet and melting bosses with it is always super damn cool, but again, I'm impatient and stupid, so it goes in brutal. The blue jackhammer goes in brutal tier 2, but that's mainly because projectile boosting is so OP, it's hard to swap off the core eject shotgun. The sentry goes into brutal 2 because while it's an amazing weapon, it's pretty easily counterable. I mean, you just need to stop what you're doing for half a second, pop them in the head or fist them and they'll pop like a water balloon. The core eject shotgun goes into anarchic as well because what it lacks in a satisfying punch and the flair of a lot of other shotguns in boomer shooters is the fact that you can punch your own bullets to boost them, which is not only insanely cool but also insanely valuable. Please ignore me putting in C tier in this footage. Okay, 0-5, it's pretty solid, so it goes in brutal tier. The boss room with the Cerberus is absolutely majestic, I can't even lie. I love this fight so damn much. It's by far the coolest looking thing in this entire game, and while the fight isn't your classic duel, it's still pretty fun, especially the whole motion of climbing it. Plus, it's just so damn cool looking and the lore implications are chilling. A certified anarchic rating. And next, the Sisyphus Prime, my goat, the game's goat. I mean, this guy is just an absolute menace both in-game and in lore. I mean, hosting a revolt against Gabriel and God, commanding an entire army of big burly men, not to mention absolutely kicking the shit out of you when you fight him. He's a boss that even after fighting him so many times, I have to really lock the hell in to win, which is something I can't say for a boss like Minos. His fight is so amazing in the way that it flows in and out of combat, giving you time to respond but keeping aggro so you never feel safe. I fear for P3. Ultrakill tier. Now the Mind Flayer is in Supreme. It's honestly always fun to fight against, and as I get better and better, it feels more enjoyable to encounter in every game. Also, it has an amazing design. The fact that they're both male and female now, it's such a creative take on a design as classic as the Mind Flayer, as it truly matches the vibe that Ultrakill has so well. Defining, at least to me, a good amount of the design psychology of this universe's twisted version of a mechanical hell. Malicious Rail Cannon. I mean, you can just nuke everything. Enough said. Anarchic. Next up, the gutter tank. We all know my opinion on the gutter tank, and that it's peak design. The shield, the machine gun, the way it's first introduced, the backpack on its back, holding a dried, shriveled up corpse, keeping it alive through pumping blood. It's an absolute masterpiece in not only design, but also design communicating the lore of the world. I mean, it's truly a thing of beauty, and I adore it for everything that it has. Also, that sound and hit stop when you punch its shield, oh my god, it gets my pussy wet every single time. Supreme tier. Okay, next up is the red Swordblade launcher, putting it indestructible because I've never used it that much. Truly, as someone who's not a speedrunner, artist, challenge runner, or modder, I'm by far the most qualified person to make this list. Luckily, V2 is next on this list, and this guy is in Ultrakill tier. Because what would Ultrakill Yaoi be without him? He's one of the best rival bosses, having no motivation deeper than I fucking hate you, and truly, it works great. Sad to see that he's not with us anymore for Act 3, but honestly, the 2 fights that we already have were more than enough. So long, you beautiful machine. The soldier goes in chaotic because Pepsi Man is literally just a stray that did some coke. The drone goes into destructive, and the sand bomber goes into ship of fools tier. Not because they're bad enemies or anything. I actually like their mechanics and design and implications. I just don't fuck with him personally. I know, this is such an objective list. Okay, let's see what's left. Okay, more nail guns, but this time, this actually goes into brutal tier because I actually do use this thing quite a lot. They're very, very good for speed blitzing a Cerberus every once in a while. 7-3, which is one of the most beautiful levels in the game. I mean, everything about it is so cryptic and cool. I love its vibe so much, so I'm gonna put it in anarchic. The stray goes into chaotic tier for obvious reasons. I mean, it's just the filth, but it shoots at you instead of nibbling at your toes, so that's pretty cool, I guess. The street cleaner actually goes in anarchic tier. Not only is their introduction really damn cool, burning down the very level they inhabit, but the fact that you can pop them by shooting a coin behind them is so smart, and I love that mechanic so much. It's just the small details that really make me love this game so damn much. The very cancerous rodent goes into Ultrakill tier for very obvious reasons, and the virtue, well, the virtue is a bum in my eyes, and I'm slapping them straight into destructive. I hate these things specifically out of spite that they single-handedly killed me more than every other enemy in this entire game. The shock nail gun I actually really like, so I'm gonna put it in anarchic tier. I actually do use this one quite often. Finally, 1-2 goes into brutal tier because the reveal of it going all on fire is so scrum diddly-umptious. I love that stuff, man. Cerberus goes into brutal because I love big muscled men, and the cannonball launcher is a weapon I barely use, but whenever I do, I never regret it, so it's also going in brutal tier. I just can't be bothered to parry my big black balls into other people after unloading my load. 5S is going into Ultrakill tier because, oh my god, I love fishing, and when I heard there was fishing in this game, I instantly brought it. To be honest, I thought it was going to be more of an in-game thing than, you know, just being dedicated to a single level, but I'm absolutely not disappointed. The amount of brain rot that has come from this is amazing. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see that. The pump shotgun goes into Supreme for being the most reliable, consistent weapon in this entire game, and 5-1 goes into Brutal for being pretty cool, all things considered. Bridge Burner, or 2-1, is one of the coolest setups for a level visually that I've played, but gameplay wise I think Brutal tier is a good spot to put it. It's a good mix of both because it's very visually stunning, but I never really enjoyed fighting on the glass platforms. The Swords Machine goes into Supreme simply because they're always a joy to parry. I mean, it's so silly how they just shut the fuck down whenever I graze them slightly with my fists. 2-2 is a great level, introducing me to the rail cannon, and the power boxes were a fun gimmick to make it interesting. It's kind of like an open world Ultrakill map. I don't know, it makes a city feel so much more alive than any other location in Ultrakill. The back rooms and the pipes and stuff make it one of the coolest cyberpunk cities I've played through. 7.5 is a cleaning simulator, and it's amazing. It's a little tad long, which is why it's in Supreme. I mean, it's literally viscera cleanup detail with a red herring to a size 2 fish down a corridor that is so fucking long. Who can hate it? I surely don't. Nope, nothing concerning about size 2 fish has ever made me unreasonably angry. The Marksman, look, it goes into Ultrakill tier. Do I really need to explain myself? I mean, when my friend shot his own coin, my brain was like, holy shit, you can do that? I mean, it basically started this damn channel, so yeah, I kind of owe it that. The corpse of King Minos is in Supreme to 1, match the level it's found in, but also because I simply love his design and the fight so much. Punching and parrying his fists literally never get old, and I eagerly await a mod that adds him into the cyber grind. Could you imagine him appearing from the horizon at like wave 50 or something? 3-1 is a good gauntlet that tests your skills in a really creatively designed map, so I like it. Anarchic tier. While 3-2 holds one of the coolest boss runs I've ever had the pleasure to experience. Those hands that stretch across the void, the speech, the heart beating across the arena, it's cinema, man. Anarchic tier. The idol goes into brutal because the hit stun and sound effects that plays when breaking it is simply one of the best things in the world. Okay, now the two encore levels. I think these both go into Ultrakill tier, specifically because these two levels had some of the best gameplay twists I've ever seen in my life. The moment I saw a timer in the first encore level, I just lost my mind. It was some of the coolest looking levels for one, but also some of the levels with the best gameplay. They almost matched the difficulty and fun of the encounters in Pantheons, which is something I never thought could have happened in a level that wasn't a Pantheon. The fact that the floor literally became lava in 1E, I mean, it was so damn beautiful. So yeah, simply because I don't want to spoil too much because you might not have played the encore levels, go grind for them. They're insanely good. Okay, 4-3 is a good damn level. It's just a little dark and long, but the combat challenges its sports are too damn good to ignore. So I think it goes into Anarchic despite its flaws. Just ignore me putting in brutal like like an idiot. Oh my god, wow, I've yapped for so damn long. Anyways, the Crash Bandicoot level, I mean, this is an all-time classic. Do I want to replay it? Hell no, it was a pain in the ass, but it's still a goofy experience that made me go hee hee and haha when I first stumbled upon it, so it goes in Anarchic tier. Finally, 2S, which I put in Ultrakill tier simply because of its impact on the community. Also, I still vividly remember the memory of me stumbling upon this level without a guide and realizing I somehow ended up in a dating simulator, which was just amazing. I love this game so damn much. My favorite FPS fishing, platforming, horror, puzzle, cleaning, dating sim, visual novel game. Wow. I love Finland. And yeah, that's about it. I didn't do the music because, I mean, you can just go watch a DJ Serial Source video for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you soon. I have a really big video that I've been working on for a month, but I decided to put this video out there because I just wanted to talk about something during the holidays, and the video was taking way too long rendering. Okay, have a good one, stay hydrated. Bye bye.